We're here with Oklahoma State floriculture professor Bruce Dunn talking about hydroponics. And Bruce, what exactly is hydroponics?
So hydroponics differs than traditional production in that we're growing without soil. So as the name indicates, so hydro meaning water and ponis meaning labor, and so basically it's just a system of growing plants in water and nutrients. The traditional kind of hydroponic system uses just growing the plants in the water, but you can add some substrates in there too as well, like this hydroton or perlite, for example, in order to grow those crops.
So when we think about hydroponics, or when most people do, they're thinking about growing fruits or vegetables, but there's actually hydroponic systems that can be utilized like on the family farm for their production purposes.
Absolutely. So actually I was just recently had a farmer that contacted me and is interested in hydroponic fodder production, which differs than just traditional kind of vegetable hydroponic system. Is that for the vegetables, we generally grow those out for maturity. And so something like lettuce, it might be something like about 5 to 7 weeks. But for other ones like tomatoes, it might be 2 months. But in the fodder system here, it's basically just growing sprouts. And so after about 5 to 10 days, you're able to produce a fodder crop.
So what could that be utilized for? Would it be utilized for like forage purposes?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times they'll use it to supplement feed specifically or forage, and so a lot of times during the winter time, and you can use different crops in there. So you can use wheat, rye, they'll even use like sorghum and maize too in there too as well, but barley is probably the #1 seed that they'll use for that system.
So how long does it take? I mean, you mentioned 5 to 7 days. You put this in a week ago and you're already starting to get some sprouts coming up. How long does it take before you're actually ready to, and what goes into that actually, like harvesting this?
Right, so it's a fairly simple process. So basically we'll take seed, and so if we take 1 pound of seed, we can expect about 7 pounds of fodder back from that system. So we'll take seed, soak it in like a 5-gallon bucket for 24 hours just in water, and then the next day we'll soak it in, we'll add some either like 1% bleach or hydrogen peroxide into that system, then that'll just kind of sterilize it and make sure that we don't get any mold to start developing in that system. Generally, like I said, it's probably about 5 days for something like wheat and rye, but something like oats, it takes a lot longer, about 10 days. You can also use it to supplement, as I mentioned before, something like chickens and goats, and you can even use it for cattle too as well, but it just depends on the system here, because there is that extra cost associated with this system.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. You know, why this is it could be a great option. It's not an option for everybody.
Right, so it depends completely on your system. So there's places where they found that this system will actually reduce costs by 30%, but that's in areas where there's limited water and there's also high feed costs to get forage, or forage is not readily available.
And you actually have a conference coming up here in the next few weeks that can help producers and people who aren't producers learn more about hydroponics.
Right, so we do have one. It's a soilless crop production conference. It's going to be held here on the campus of Oklahoma State University, and so basically the conference is on July 10th. It's going to be an all-day conference, so we'll talk about growing different crops, we'll talk about insects, diseases in there too as well, and just kind of introduce what are some of these different types of hydroponic systems.
All right, thanks Bruce. If you'd like more information on the upcoming crops conference, go to our website, sunup.okstate.edu.